we're back. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joe Reezy, and I'm here with the caveman. We got Francis. We got Jermaine. Where'd he go? There he is.
I'm right here.
And we got And it's the Cave Podcast. Before we get started, I just want to check. I want to remind you guys to check out the website, cave.com. That's k4v3.com. We got blogs over there. We got merch. And we're going to spotlight the Hydrogen Warrior when this episode comes out. So, cave.com. I'll see you over there. With no further ado, we got Matt back on the show. What's up, man? What's up with the hydrogen movement?
Man, it's going amazing. I'm glad to check back in with you guys. Got a lot of juicy stuff to share with the hydrogen movement and with my company, Axiom H2.
Awesome. That's cool. I think the last time we spoke, we talked about the cold plunge and cold showers. And around the time, we were talking about how in California, that doesn't really exist. Like cold showers probably gets to, 70 degrees? But we did it. You know, we did it during the winter time. I think I did it all the way up till March. Mm-hmm. And man, I got benefits out of it. Jermaine did it with me. I don't know if Danny and Francis did it, but that's one thing we did from the podcast, speaking to you the last time. And also, every time I hear alkaline water, it just, I cringe now. What about you guys? You guys have a paradigm shift after that last conversation?
I still get my alkaline water. I'll say that. But I do switch it out now. Once in a while, I'll get, not once in a while, but I have like a little pattern now where I'll get a regular jug of water, but then the other ones, so I'll kind of mix it in, not too much alkaline. Versus only alkaline.
Yeah, I don't really drink alkaline. I wasn't on the show with y'all, but I definitely listened to some parts. I don't buy alkaline water anymore. I still just use my regular water at home. That's the filtered water. I know it's not much better, but if I got some extra cash, I'll do like mountain spring water. I feel like that's a little bit better. So yeah, I mean that was great information shared by you, Mateo, last time you joined us on the pod.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And I know you guys got some tablets, right? Didn't someone order some tablets?
I did.
Yeah, Jermaine ordered some tablets.
Yeah,
I ordered two.
How was your experience with that?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't really see anything for me yet. But I also chalk it up to I need to take it more than just those two bottles. So I'm considering now just trying to do a long-term one because I was like, all right, let's get 2 bottles. And but I'm not trying to like talk down on yourself. It's just like, I personally just didn't see it. I didn't personally see anything, and I think that's information for people to know that 2 bottles is probably not going to do anything. You should probably invest in a little more than what it is. But hey, they tasted great. It tastes like lemon. It had like a little lemongrass flavor to it or something. But it was something I was trying to take seriously. But like I said, with something like this, you were right. It's something you have to do like maybe 6 months. So 2 months wasn't really showing much for me.
Right. No, I appreciate the feedback. We hear a lot of different results, and actually my parents, I was sending them bottles and I kept checking in on them, excited. How you guys feeling? Oh, we're feeling good. We're not noticing too much. And I think that was like their first or second month when I had checked in with them. And so I was a little, bummed out. I was like, wow, man, some people feel them on the very first tablet. In their first week, they're already having phenomenal changes with their body, with their sleep, with their energy off their first time. So in other people, it takes 2-3 months. And, we've even developed a health questionnaire now because the changes are so subtle and it's happening on a cellular level that you don't really feel it, but you'll see it in your lifestyle, in your patterns, especially if man, I always wake up 2 times a night, every night. And then you realize after a month or 2 using the tablets, actually, I didn't even think about it. I'm not waking up anymore. So some of the issues we have are kind of out of sight, out of mind that pain in your wrist you had went away and you totally forgot about it. So there's things like that we've now kind of developed to help quantify where we're at before we start. And then you kind of do that health questionnaire every 30 days to see your improvements.
Okay. I have a question though. So I noticed some other hydrogen tablets, they would say you could take 2 a day, but yours is 1. Is there any reason why yours specifically is just 1 a day? And when do you, because I would just take it in the morning when I wake up. So in your personal opinion, when would be the best time of day to take it?
Well, the difference between some of the other tablets and mine is that, mine's orally digested and it's swallowed like a vitamin. Other ones on the market, you actually put it in water, you wait a few minutes for it to dissolve and drink it that way. But typically 1 a day has shown a lot of great benefits. I mean, we have a woman on lupus. She has 1 month now, lupus in remission on her 4.5 month of this a tablet a day. But, we also have experimented now with taking 3 tablets a day. And for me personally, I experienced a strong detox and I was started coughing up a lot of mucus for about 10 days straight. I coughed up a large amount of mucus and my nose was basically leaking, but I felt like $1,000,000. I wasn't sick. I even ran self-diagnostic on our bioresonance device. I didn't have a flu, no viruses. But after those 10 days, I was done detoxing. So we have experimented now with upping the dose up to more than 1 a day. But typically for the average person, 1 a day is enough. And I never want to try to sell a product like you got to take 3 a day and just so you burn through the product fast when we see results with 1 a day. But, everyone has a different experience for sure.
Okay. Well, so if I was to say get another few bottles of it, would you say if I was to take 2 a day, that's okay? Because I want to try it again and see, like I said, give you different feedback on it, because I don't think the 1 a day was really doing anything for me. So maybe I'm part of that group that kind of needs to up the dosage. So would you think 2 a day is okay, or is that kind of like overkill, or is it 3 a day like you're saying? Because now you're saying 3 a day was detoxing you. So that's actually very interesting.
Yeah, if you do want to give it another shot, I would say, go to 2 a day. I know I have another buddy, a biohacking guy down in Florida named Zach, and the first week he got the bottles, he was like, "Yo, bro, I'm taking like two at a time, or 2 a day, or 3 a day," and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "I never said do that," and but he was like, "That's when he felt it." And some people, they need to really feel something, so it is natural. You can't overdose on it. So you can, I was doing 3 a day. It was 1 morning, midday, and before bed. I have a neighbor, he just takes 1 a day, but before bed, and he sleeps much deeper, has more dreams. And I hear that from a lot of people when they take it at night before bed. So, if you try it again, I would try 2 a day and just break it up. And also try to maybe quantify where you're at right now. How are your energy levels on a scale of 1 to 10 throughout the day?
Right.
Just some little things like that, or I can actually send you our health questionnaire. Okay. And then that way you see where you're at now, and then you'll answer it again in 30 days or in 60 days. And, most likely you'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize that, my energy was at a 5 when I started. And now I'm writing energies at a 9, So those little things are quantifiable.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try that for sure. I did try taking it at night to see if I could get better sleep, but my mistake was I always smoke before I go to bed, so I can't tell if it was the hydrogen pill or I was just stoned off my ass or whatever. But, so I'm going to have to try without smoking before bed.
Good luck.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it again though. I'm gonna try it again though. So because I actually just from the first episode we had, there was so much good information you provided us and just benefits. So obviously I want to see because you had this device, you said this little machine that you created, and you said that's like the best way to get hydrogen in, right?
Yeah. Through inhalation is the strongest form. It's one of the newest, emerging, most popular medical gases for its high safety profile. And obviously, it has the highest bioavailability because it's the smallest molecule. So when the gas actually touches the lungs, it actually starts cleansing the lungs on contact.
Okay.
And once it enters the lungs, it goes straight to the bloodstream, to our cells, and to our nucleus, passes through our blood-brain barrier, and actually starts to repair our mitochondria, reduce oxidative stress at a cellular level, and 100% natural. So, I mean, it is the future of not only energy, but health, wellness, sports performance. It's the next ozone, oxygen therapy. I'm just, way ahead of the curve,
Mm-hmm.
I started taking supplements, and I started taking the On It supplements. I think I was taking the gut health and the probiotics, right? And I knew those supplements were something that you had to take long term in order to see the benefits or see the subtle differences, And if you're medicating with weed and you're drinking on the weekends, it's going to be hard to really tell the subtle differences. And even if you're not, I feel like journaling would help too, to be able to be more aware and to be able to be conscious about any improvements or any differences. But the thing about hydrogen, and like we spoke about previously, is it's multifaceted, right? It balances your hormones. It detoxes you. There's anti-inflammatory properties, and there's also the cosmetic benefits of it. Like, there's some anti-aging properties of it as well. Do those benefits come with the oral tablet as well? Like, do you get those those vision benefit, those vision improvement, the wrinkle decreasing aspects of the hydrogen therapy through the tablets as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That's I've gotten before. They say, if tablets work so well, they said, why do I need a machine? I say, I'm not, trying to sell you anything. I'm offering a service. I'm sharing information. I'm expressing my passion, sharing studies, and I have a great product and a great service to offer. So I say, look, if the tablets work better for your financial situation and they're more convenient, they're super. You don't have to sit on the machine for 30 minutes and stay put. You just pop a tablet and keep going throughout your day. So I actually love the tablets, and I do get lazy sometimes. I don't feel like sitting around and breathing the gas. So I just pop a tablet and keep going throughout my day. But no, I mean, the tablets, like I said, we have the woman in Alexis that her lupus has been in remission for a full month now. She can get back to work, a year of not working, all this from lupus. And with the tablets, I mean, she's allowed me to share a testimonial, which we have posted on the Instagram. So she talks how powerful the tablets are, and she's saving up to get the machine. But, the tablets do wonders alone for wrinkles, hydration, energy, repairing the gut health naturally. So there's so many benefits from the tablets alone.
That's awesome. And Francis and I, because he wasn't on the last podcast and we were talking before you got on. So let's just break this down. Hydrogen and water. Water is two hydrogens and an oxygen molecule, right? And then they make water. As far as hydrogen therapy, we're just increasing the hydrogen concentration of the water, right? We're not making a whole new element or molecule, correct?
Yeah. Great question. That's a super common question. Yeah, it's H2O. H2 is a molecular hydrogen. It's attached to oxygen, so it's bound. We add extra hydrogen to the water to make it what's called HRW, hydrogen-rich water. And then, but it doesn't change the chemical structure, though. Nice. It just is adding available hydrogen to the water.
Perfect. And here you go,
That's
man.
awesome.
I thought
awesome.
so.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up for me, Mateo. I was kind of a little confused on that. But now that I know more about the benefits, I'd like to touch on the business side of your company, Axiom. I looked at your Instagram. It's very thought-provoking and engaging. Can you speak a little bit about, the process of your products? Like, where is your machines being manufactured? What's it like to get from step A to step Z for the machines? And then can you also touch on the tablets as well? Like, are they getting FDA approved? Are you going to a particular lab outside of the U.S., in the U.S.? Can you just touch on those two legs of your business, please?
Yeah, sure. So, the machine was a development basically from myself as a frustrated customer.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the market, buying generators in the past, working with other companies, helping build generators, working with customer service. When it came to what I really wanted in a device and what I needed, I could not find that. And that was the initial conceptualization of Axiom H2 was out of frustration. I needed the right product with the right testing, the right materials, the right customer service, all those things. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to find a manufacturer out of China that actually manufactures medical equipment for hospitals. And so connecting with some engineers and finding a shell that I liked, I was able to basically upgrade and outfit pre-existing technology. I was looking at some of the top machines in Japan and seeing like, why is this machine $12,000 and why am I looking at a machine that's $200? I said, like, what is going on here? The technology is very similar, but what am I not getting? So diving deep, I found it had to do with all the materials that was made of the electrodes, the cathodes, and it has to do with pure platinum and titanium, not using alloys or other combinations. And why these materials, and that's the expensive part, is so important is because after long hours of usage of the electrical process, it can break down the electrodes and release oxides. So what I did is I basically created a group of a team, got that shell that was out on the market, used the shell, outfitted it with the best materials that I could find. I held no expenses, added the most sensors I could add. And that way we could give it a proper warranty. We had a proper customer service. So they're getting made to order. Nice. So they're not just sitting there on a shelf. No, these are made to order. So we actually have to place an order. And I typically do around 20 machines at a time. That process gets to, we have 2 locations. Now 3, one in Colorado, Miami, and here in Costa Rica. So we have devices with stock and inventory of the machines. And, the shipping process for the States is free shipping with the device. And it's typically within a week or less, depending where you are. But we do ship worldwide. And even to Canada and some places in Europe, shipping takes at most, on average, 14 days. So that's the process for the machine. As far as the tablets, they're also coming out of China as well. And this is because Asia, China, Japan, and Korea, they have been way ahead of the game with hydrogen therapy for many more years than, the Western part of the world. So I'm, doing what China does best is they look at the technology, they find out ways to maximize it and make it more cost efficient. So I did find a medical, this for the tabs. I found another manufacturer to find all natural ingredients. So I didn't want any harmful binders, no dextrose, and no titanium dioxide, and harmful ingredients in the tablets. So I was able to acquire those, run my own test on them with a couple different testing equipments. And then I'm actually working with a laboratory here in Costa Rica to get them certified through, they're basically the Costa Rican FDA. The product, neither the machine or the tablets are FDA approved. They're both 100% natural, and most natural things are not FDA approved.
Yeah.
And as far as testing, and we have been in communication with a company called H2 Analytics. That is the American branch here from a company from Japan called the Japanese Molecular Standards Hydrogen Association. So they can certify products. However, Axiom H2 products is so new that they actually don't do my generator yet, and they don't do my tablets yet. They do the other tablets and they do other water ionizers, but they do not do our technology yet. So I've been in communication with the president waiting, to say, hey, let me know. Like, I can't wait to send you guys my products. I want to get them approved. I want to show that for you guys. But as far as other testing we've done H2 blue drops and videos of that. We've done digital meters for oxidation reduction potential, digital meters for pH, digital meter for H2 saturation, and then we have a gas analysis device showing 100% purity of molecular hydrogen gas. And so that's one of the main selling points of Axiom H2 is that we offer transparency in testing. And that is the huge red flag that I saw in the market, that I felt like other companies were capitalizing on the ignorance in the market from the public. And I'm like, this is not right. So that's where Axiom H2 came to be a premium brand with testing, quality, warranty, customer service, education. A lot of our people are certified through MHI, Molecular Hydrogen Institute. So we're just kind of upping the game. We made it. We saw there was a room for a premium tier, and I took my background as holistic nutritionist and sports medicine, training, fitness, and hospitality and hospitality management. So I kind of combined those with Axiom to give people proper service, a phone number, email, education, and everything. I think a customer getting involved in this industry.
That's awesome to hear, Mateo. I really love the attention to detail and the care for your customers. I'm a hospitality professional myself, so when you spoke of being easy for your customers to reach out in case they had any issues is a huge thing you need to touch on, especially with a product that you're not so much guest facing all the time. You kind of just send them a product and you're hoping for the best, but the way that you're available at all times, not at all times, but easily available to reach, that's a big selling point. Now that we have covered the production part of it, how are you marketing to potential clients and customers? Are you doing like events at fitness and health conventions, or are you doing any ads? Are you collabing with fitness and holistic influencers? Like, what are some ideas that Axiom H2 is using in order to gain more brand awareness?
Yeah, right now we're just now starting the phase of traveling. We have a team of 25 of what I call, our H2 warriors. Majority of them, not all 25 are certified yet, but almost all 25 are certified. And so all these, our team, we have a weekly sales call, and we also talk about email reach out, social media, how to reach out. And, we do things very different than a regular company. When we go over our sales calls saying, hey, you want to reach out to an influencer on Instagram or a business account, a client, clinic, be casual, be real. Don't come there cookie cutter, super professional. We can be professional, but it's very casual and let them know we're a real person. So we talk about a bunch of strategies, how to reach people on the internet, online. Obviously, we do work with our local area, and we work with our community and our friends. We'll do little kind of H2 parties. We'll, invite people over. We'll bring 2 machines. We'll drink water and hang out and eat food and talk about hydrogen, and everyone gets gassed and feels great. So we
sounds like our parties.
Only get gassed up. You get our hydrogen. But I do have some fitness influencers. We have some things in the works. I don't know how much I can share of the names just yet, but some big, very, very big names that I'm very excited. gentleman. He works with the top professional athletes in the world that everyone watches on the TV screen in boxing and MMA, and he specializes in longevity. So we actually got connected over the internet and actually through mutual friends, and we hit it off. Had a 3-hour conversation, decided to join forces. He has my products right now and is using them with his athletes. And so we have amazing things in the works coming. We're just now going to start joining biohacking conferences, and we're starting to now host H2 retreats. Not just hydrogen retreats, but we do like the Costa Rican thing. We do full body diagnostics with the most advanced bioresonance technology. We're working with a lot of clinics, not only in the United States, but around the world. So we don't have any dollars in marketing money and advertisement. We are literally ground roots, letting the products sell themselves. Obviously, we're doing our social media bit, posting our stories, sharing our testimonials, and the team is growing. But it's really once people feel the change in their lives, they see someone's lives change, they become this super strong H2 warrior advocate to start making content. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing what has happened. So we're on the way there. I can tell our reach is not where it needs to be yet. But, once we get that momentum and that income and I can maybe afford a little bit of more marketing dollars, I would love to.
That's awesome, man. I love how you're building. I feel like with all businesses, you have to build a community. You have to make people feel like they're a part of the business in some way or some form. So the fact that you're using this product to change people's lives and helping them be part of the community, also a H2 warrior, as you say, I find it very interesting, and I wish nothing but the best for you. May I ask how many years you've been in business with when did you start the company, I should say?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. And it's been almost a year now since I launched it in Miami, and it's almost been a full year. So we're a new company that is launched to the public. When I launched the products publicly, it's been about a year. It was almost another year in research and testing before that. So we're definitely a newer company.
That's awesome, man. You're still new, man. You got a long way to go. So nothing but the best for you, man. I do like asking this question because I used to own my own business in the catering industry for about 8 years. So of course, there's a lot of hurdles with being an entrepreneur. Within the first year of research or the first year of opening, can you tell like a story where you're just like, man, what the am I really going to do this shit right now? Should I still do it? Because for me, I've had that moment where like, man, what the fuck am I doing? But then I have that hype, that moment where like, you know what, fuck it. I love this. I'm going to do it. Can you talk about a time where you're like, what the fuck am I really doing?
Yeah. I was thinking about a good example and I have one, and it was, so to fund the business, I was using my background in hospitality, bartending at a very nice hotel in South Beach. I had a great gig, making really good money. So when I was deciding to create Axiom and potentially leave a solid, good paying job, that was a point where, everyone around me was like, no, don't do that. Don't leave. Don't leave. And, it was like, am I crazy? Nothing against family members and everyone that loved me, but a lot of people were saying, do not do that. And I'm thinking I can split my energy. So for entrepreneurs out there, and you guys are thinking about doing it or you are doing it, think about this. You do need funds to maybe invest into your business or keep the lights on. However, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he lived in a car, right? His whole thing was he lived in a car, and they're like, bro, you can get a good job. You're a smart guy. He said, no, I'm not going to do do a 9-to-5, have a boss, do anything I don't want to do. I'm put all my energy into what I'm passionate about. and I'm going to sit tight until it takes off. And so when I pulled out of the bartending industry, you know, making over $5,000 a month, you know, 5 to 10 grand in a month, you know, for me, that was really good money. And I'm like, wow, what am I doing? I said, what am I doing? This is crazy. I'm making good money. I have a great gig. But I said, what am I passionate about? I'm passionate about hydrogen. I'm passionate about healing. I'm passionate about educating people on this amazing molecule. And so I said, look, if I can put all my energy I put into bartending into this company, I can make it happen. I know I can. Yeah. And so I got a bad knee injury. I tore my ACL and in Miami on a skateboard, longboard. And so that month I couldn't, for more than a month, I couldn't bartend. So I had, my only option was to work online on my business, Axiom. And then that month or two, when I was laid up in bed, just working on Axiom, you know, hobbling around my apartment, I said, wow, this is a reality. I can actually make this work because I don't need to be rich. I just need to follow my passion and keep the lights on, you know, and touch people's lives. So, you know, that was my thing, was I can split my energy to do something I don't really passionate about, I don't really care for, or put like 90 to 100% of my energy into something I really, truly love. And, man, now it's, you know, been at least a year later and I couldn't be happier. You know, the companies continue to go upward. We're touching lives. We got testimonials. We got a team of 25 people that are passionate H2 warriors. We're getting in clinics. We're working with professional athletes. So my vision of healing the world with hydrogen, one person at a time, is actually unfolding. So yeah, follow your dreams, whatever that passion is that gets you off and it doesn't get boring after years and years. I mean, whatever that is, hone in on that and try to give the majority of your energy to it. And it will unfold. Like it really, once I committed, it literally started unfolding for me, but I had to fully commit.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate you sharing that story. I hope when our viewers see this, they get motivated or inspired to kind of take that leap of faith, because sometimes you just never know. You won't know till you try it. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but at least you know that you went for it. So thank you for sharing that story, man. I appreciate it.
I read this book called The Power of Concentration. It reminds me of what you said, Mateo, because your energy and your attention, some people, you know, when they take their jobs that they settle for because it's comfortable, like you said, they have fragmented or scattered attention, right? It's not generally honed in and focused on a one thing, almost like a laser focus, right? And in the book Power of Concentration, it said your concentration is like a laser beam. So if it's fragmented, you know, it's not going to be as effective as if it's honed in on one single point where you could burn through anything. So that's pretty interesting, that how that translates into being an entrepreneur. And it is right. Like, would you rather focus 100% on one thing or fragment 10% of your attention into a bunch of things, right? It reminds me of that Floyd Mayweather quote of, you either become a master of one thing or you're just a nobody at everything.
Right.
But the cool thing about your journey, and I feel like the entrepreneur journey is, we spoke about this on the previous podcast, but your ideas, right? Especially hydrogen therapy, which is fairly new. And when it comes to holistic healing or any kind of therapeutic practices that are considered new age, it's almost rejected right away by the old school traditional people, right? It's the same kind of people who have like that reefer madness reaction to marijuana, despite, you know, some therapeutical benefits of it. But it's crazy how ideas, right? You tell people your ideas, you can tell 100 people your ideas and 100 people could be like, you're stupid. Like, you should never do that. Or what are you thinking? But one person that goes, hey man, it only takes one person to believe in you to ignore those 100 people that said that was stupid.
Right.
And with your field, it's probably more rewarding because, like Danny said, when it comes to a collaboration or a partnership, if both sides win, then the better, right? Mm-hmm. And you're healing people. And like you said in the first podcast, like you had a friend that was overcome with tears of joy because he hadn't slept in a while, and he took these pills and was like finally sleeping. Yeah. I remember that one. So yeah, I bet you it just takes one of those moments to give you enough motivation to, you know, run through all the naysayers that go through this. So you probably get a little boosty from each of these testimonials, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I get off on. I'm like, when people, they think they're bothering me, I said, look, you're not bothering me. I love this. Like, tell me what's going on. And, you know, we have phenomenal stories with, what's the one, the woman has, what's it, autoimmune disease. And so now she's got more energy. She's noticing less wrinkles, more muscle mass. She started doing push-ups. She's in her 50s, I believe, and she's now doing push-ups. She's like, Mateo, I don't do push-ups. She's like, I don't know what this is. But I just get down, and she goes, I start doing push-ups because I can. And so it's like, I hear these things, and with the clinic we're working, we just opened a clinic here in town. And so we have people coming in the clinic to restore their eye health with the goggles, the gas and the goggles. And we just had a sick child in yesterday. He had a fever, really bad respiratory issue, so he was breathing the gas. So, I mean, you know, and I wanted to make a difference in the world. And, you know, through this type of therapy, I can make a difference. And, yeah, it does keep me going. And, you know, I don't need to be a millionaire. That would be great. But long as I can keep the lights on and, you know, food in the fridge, you know, I'm happy, and keep paying the team members, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So one thing I find interesting, and, you know, a more Western perspective, they kind of have a cynical view of China, you know, just Asian practices overall. And I think it's because of the media, but it's interesting that a lot of the research for hydrogen therapy, it looks like comes from China and Japan, right?
Yeah. The majority of it.
Is hydrogen therapy a standard practice in Japan? Like, are there, like, what would be a therapy that they would, what would be a hydrogen therapy they would put you on if you came in for a medical reason?
So actually, interesting enough, Japan, there's only, you know, about 7 to 10 hospitals, you know, from at least a year ago, utilizing hydrogen inhalation therapy in Japan. Now, they do a lot more with hydrogen-rich water. That's a lot more widely used and acceptable and common. But China now is making hydrogen inhalation a standard. Is a new thing emerging, coming in more and more hospitals in China. So they had a lot of success during that C word using hydrogen inhalation mixed with oxygen. Whereas in the United States, they were just using oxygen and like suffocating people and killing them. In China, they were having success with H2. So that really put it on the map and said, whoa, this is doing a lot for that C word and respiratory issues. Whoa, it's doing a lot for pneumonia. Oh my gosh, it's repairing people after cardiac arrest. But yeah, China and Japan are predominant users of it. Inhalation is still not super common yet. It's more common in China. Where you're going to find a lot of the uses is in therapeutic for beauty treatments, collagen production, spas, hydrogen baths. That's really where Japan's mostly using its energy.
I see. Interesting. And I don't know if it's a new thing. After we spoke, I feel like I started seeing commercials for that fucking hydrogen Toyota car, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy because we spoke about the first hydrogen engine and the person got off, right?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Did they just want the patent? Is this hydrogen engine clean? Like, did the government or the manufacturer fucked with it some sort of way to not be as clean as the original prototype? I have a cynical view of like big corporations. So I feel like once they get their hands on something, even if it's hydrogen, I feel like they throw a little bit of fluoride or something in there, you know, to fuck with people.
Right, to give some like harmful, like oxidative, like off gas.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think the same way. I think Porsche is coming out with a hydrogen engine. There's a few different hydrogen cars coming out, and I'm actually looking to put on an HHO. They call it a fuel efficiency thing, but it actually boosts the engine performance like up to 30%. So I have a 1,000cc Kawasaki Ninja, and I'm trying to get this hydrogen like generator attached to it. So it's going to boost the power, clean the whole engine. It cleanses the engine, and then increases fuel efficiency. And it looks sick. It's going to be this bubble chamber on the side of a Kawasaki Ninja street bike. So then that's going to be a whole badass marketing piece.
Right.
Yeah.
The H2 axis on that little thing right there.
Oh yeah. H2
put your brand
on the H2 powered Kawasaki Ninja 1,000cc. It's gonna be awesome.
That's cool, man.
Jermaine, have you seen that car? The Toyota? Is it the
Mirai?
Right?
Yeah. So I actually saw the first version because when I had that hot dog spot in Brea, we actually hosted a car meet. And this guy pulled up, and there was like a huge following of like Prius owners. And this guy pulled up in his Toyota Mirai, and everyone was so hyped about it because it was the first hydrogen car in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is the back seat. When you get in, it's not roomy at all, even with the new one, because you're going to be sitting right on top of the hydrogen tank, and the car has 3 hydrogen tanks. So it's not. It's the claim is it's a lot cleaner than either electric or gas, but it's also a very underpowered car. That's just the issue. And then in an electric car you get the frunk because there's no motor in the front anymore. Yeah. With this one, you have the fuel cells in the front, so it's like a motor in the front, but I feel like there's so much more that needs to be done with the car to be in contention with an electric car right now. I like the idea, but I don't know. I'm not sure how easily accessible the hydrogen is to fill up your car.
So I gotta add to that, like I've heard people say, "Oh, it's a hydrogen car," but then I've also heard people be like, "No, it's not hydrogen; it's hydrogen ion." So, is there a difference with that, or is it I think it is hydrogen ion. So, but is there a difference between those two?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few different forms of hydrogen, and there's things known as like blue hydrogen, green hydrogen. So these are categorized as different forms of energy hydrogen. Like we work with H2, which is molecular hydrogen, or dihydrogen, but there's also monohydrogen. So there's different forms of hydrogen, right? There's H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide. So there's a lot of different forms, and the cars are, they're doing it so backwards. They're using hydrogen, but in fuel tanks, when they could be doing water combustion engines, which was like the Stanley Meyer, which he was off. But the water combustion is separating the H2 from the O. They capture the H2, and that's combustible. So, it is a hydrogen engine, but they're called it a water combustible engine. And now they're trying to contain a hydrogen gas, which is a type of ion, right? And it's just not practical. And that's why there's a lot of down talk and naysay in their right. The way that they're trying to contain hydrogen is impractical. And it's probably pretty dangerous too. Like we don't do any like tanks of H2 because it's extremely explosive in high amounts. So, there's still some kinks to be worked out. And it's like, we're now accepting hydrogen engines, but long as that they have the hydrogen stations that you need to go charge them at. That's not how an H2 engine is supposed to work. We're supposed to fill up distilled water at the house and drive off into the wind for 500 miles.
Damn.
What if Toyota hit you up and was like, "Hey, Mateo, come help develop the new hydrogen engine, would you go help him?
No, it's a trap, dude. It's a trap.
Then we won't see Mateo after all that.
Yeah. Nice guy.
He's gonna be dead. He's gonna be dead, and a new car is a Toyota Axiom H2.
Right.
Man. No, yeah, like I was saying. So now hearing that, based on Jermaine said there's like 3 tanks.
There's
is
3
there
large tanks.
any is that dangerous, since it's highly combustible? Like I'm not really a car guy, but just I know how many healing properties hydrogen has, but we all know that one negative of it, of being super duper combustible. I mean, putting it into a car, like, are there cons as far as combustibility or opportunities for that to happen based on this model?
Yeah, I don't, I'm not as studied in the car technology, the hydrogen they're using, as far as the safety features.
Mm-hmm.
I've just seen a lot of new stuff coming out with the H2 engines and, some good positive things about the engines. But I know, like I said, they're doing it what I feel like is backwards, right? They're keeping the power so that they can provide you with hydrogen, but really they need to just create the proper engine with water, and we can provide our own water, but that takes them out of the game. So they're going to play in the H2 game because it's building too much hype, too much steam, that, like you said, they're going to have to just accept it, but they're going to do their own tweaks to it. And, I'm sure it's not as unstable, these just highly combustible gas tanks that we're probably thinking of in our mind. I'm sure they have a new way to make it extremely stable and probably safe. However, it's been the ongoing discussion for so many years of how impractical it is to store hydrogen. Why? Because it's the smallest molecule in the entire universe, literally. So it can pass through stainless steel, anything. So, trying to store hydrogen is not practical, but creating it on demand with a water combustion engine or an HHO source, that is very practical.
Huh. Yeah, and we spoke on the podcast previously too about how, like, even water, right? Like, obviously they try to control the source of the fuel, but like in some states it's illegal and you need a permit to collect rainwater and filter it.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, that is like people raising a lot of freaking eyebrows. Like, can't even collect the rainwater that God gives us from the sky. I mean,
right.
That's just. I mean, and next they'll say you can't collect wind. That wind turbine, doesn't fit city code. You can't collect wind. I mean, that is really the power hole that they want to have.
That better start storing that wind in some jars then. Shit.
Yeah. Right.
Airtight jars.
So I went down a rabbit hole in water and the topic of water, and what was it? Let me see what I wrote about it. The fact that sometimes water, there's a certain temperature you're supposed to drink it at that's optimal, right? In the Western culture, I feel like cold water is the traditional way to consume it. But I read somewhere that you're supposed to consume it at room temperature water because that way it's more readily available for you to digest and transfer into the other cells, right? And then not necessarily alkaline water, but the pH of your water sort of matters. Obviously, you don't want it to be too acidic, but not really buying into the alkaline water marketing. It's just a certain kind of pH depending on your condition, right? And I also read somewhere, because I know you looked into water before going into hydrogen therapy. I read somewhere that optimally, after eating, you're not supposed to drink water after an hour or two, until an hour or two after, for it to be a little more easily so that your stomach can digest the food and absorb the nutrients before you wash it out water. Do you know anything about that aspects of water? I know you went down a rabbit hole of water yourself.
Yeah, I'll touch on a few things with that. What you're talking about, the temperature of water does matter. And, in traditional Chinese medicine, they picture our stomach like a cauldron. And that's why they cook all their food, because they want to get it hot so it matches the temperature of the stomach. So the stomach doesn't have to work as hard to heat it up to break it down. And a similar thing with water. A lot of the Chinese, they drink warm water, because it's matching the temperature of their body. So the body can, exactly, absorb it right away. I mean, you're super hot and dehydrated and you're slugging ice cold water. It's going to feel nice to cool you down, to help cool your core down, but it's actually going to sit in your stomach a while and kind of throw your body out of balance, and you're not going to get hydrated as quickly from that temperature. So yes, the temperature does affect things. The pH as well. They actually say in a book called Dancing with Water, which combines the spiritual aspect and the science aspect of water together, they actually say we should drink water slightly on the acidic side, which would be under 7 in the mid 6 range, because our stomach is an acidic environment. So, those things can help in, right? We're not supposed to drink liquid or water while we eat food, because when we're eating food, our body starts to create the acids and excretes this particular acids to break down the food. So if we keep drinking liquids or water while we're eating our meal, we're washing away those acids. So that's part of the holistic nutrition is you don't drink, at least 30 minutes before and at least 30 minutes after your meal to improve your digestion.
Yeah, I'll always take it back to the primal days and, animalistic instincts. Mm-hmm. And you don't see animals fucking food next to the water, take a few bites, drink some water, you know what I mean? And then go at it again. They eat their food, they chill for a little bit, and then they'll go to the water hole after, right? So absolutely. I for the first time I heard that, I looked at some animal hunting videos. I'm like, that's interesting. Even the animals kind of know not to do that. So that's profound information, I feel like.
Well, on that topic that you just mentioned about these animals and how they act, and right, if an animal's sick, does it eat when it's sick? No, it doesn't eat it, because it knows the body needs all its power and energy, not for digestion, not for digesting food, but to healing the body. It's only humans that are sick. It's like, we'll eat some soup, keep eating. And it's like, so we can take away energy from our immune system. When you're sick, you're supposed to fast. That's what an animal will do. Is an animal fast for 5 days, for 7 days a week. We can live a long time without food. We can't live a long time without water. And on the topic of animals and talking about primal and instinct, I learned this from a new kind of a mentor, a friend and partner of mine with Axiom. And he did reveal a little tidbit I'll share with you guys. And basically, he talks about apex predators. And we can trigger a type of reaction in our body, a very deep instinctual reaction, where what type of animal has to walk less than 5 steps to drink water from waking up from sleep? And so I don't know if you guys want to try to guess.
A dog, like a fucking domesticated dog.
Well, I should ask the animal in the wild.
Oh shit.
A hippo? Because they probably sleep in the water.
Yeah, they're probably in the water, but I guess I should say a mammal that lives outside of the water. That lives in the water. You guys are too smart.
Thank you.
Me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's like, I'm an animal. So what it is the ultimate apex predators. like a lion, maybe a tiger, super apex predators. So within 5 steps of them waking up, they can drink water. But all the other animals, they have to almost walk a long way to get water, or have water in fear and in fright. And so part of the things that my friend, he capitalizes on is triggering these aspects in the human body. So when you're still in bed, when you wake up, don't even leave the bed yet. Drink water right on your nightstand, when you're waking up before you walk to the bathroom. And he's like, that will start to trigger this apex instinctual thing in the body. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I'm doing that. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like I blanked out during that question, but yeah, it's true, because when you see gazelles and zebra drinking water, they're fucking like tight asshole drinking water. You know what I mean? Because a fucking crocodile could grab them, a tiger or a lion could grab them. Like, we got to drink water quick. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they can't live right next to the water and have it when they'd like at their leisure. Only the apex predators can. So the humans, we are apex predators. We should be, as far as our intelligence, but a lot of us are not. But we can start to refocus on those things again by just drinking water before you leave the bed. It's crazy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. As far as the digesting the water, I also heard that the way that you're not digesting water is when you have, when you drink water and you move around, you can kind of feel it slushing in your stomach. That typically means that you haven't absorbed it or digested it. It's just kind of chilling in your stomach, right?
Yeah, I mean, that also could just factor on like how fast you drink it and how much. But I'll tell you one thing out here in Costa Rica, and structured water and healthier, fresher water actually feels lighter in the body. You can drink a big glass of water and not feel like it's filling or it's heavy, fills you up, because fresh water is typically more structured. And when water's more structured, meaning the molecules are organized, it actually changes the basically absorption rate. So it actually will absorb faster than older water, unstructured water, or dead water. So those things can also factor in. And, you can structure your water by vortexing it. Like, just with a vortex actually starts to organize. I just spill water everywhere.
You fucking caught that shit, bro.
I just vortex on myself. I got a little excited there.
He's what?
The vortex was strong in that one, big dog.
Vortex on live.
It's so. Matt, do you drink cold water?
Yeah, just through.
Do you drink ice cold water? Knowing all this.
No, not anymore. I used to. Like when I was growing up, it was water with tons of ice, and that's all I drink. Now it's room temperature water. If I drink water out, I say without ice, like without the ice, because I just drink at room temp. And a lot of times I don't even drink water out anymore because I brought my meters out with me and tested the water. And a lot of it is funky monkey action, and I'm just like, I'm kind of spoiled now.
Yeah, as you should be, bro. I mean, like, to know you're accountable when you know, right?
Knowledge is power, man.
That's the thing. When I heard about the room temperature stuff, my paradigm was shattered, because I'm thinking, damn, this cold water after a hot day and workout, that's all matrix programming, dude.
Yeah.
And despite knowing that you're supposed to drink room temperature water to match the temperature of your stomach, God damn, cold water is so fucking good after a run. Or I'm insane. I can't break out of it, bro.
on a hot day, like when you just pour it over yourself too, just that.
But that's different. Cold water, like plunge and immersion, is good for you. But cold water, drinking it is not as good for you as that. So that's actually beneficial for you. But like, dude, first of all, like, can you imagine after a hard football workout, right, in the summer, and then you go to your jug and you drink some room temperature water.
That sucks.
You guys ever seen The Water Boy?
It sucks, but that person will probably perform better, right, on the field. Weirdly enough, crazy, but goddamn, that Gatorade, you know, with the fucking mist outside the bottle because it's so cold inside.
It's slushy.
Matrix programming, man.
I noticed too. I don't know. Me and Jarrell used to work at a restaurant as servers.
Yes,
I noticed a lot of the elderly Asian people. They always order just plain hot water. And now that we're talking about this, it's kind of like it's the Asian. It's like Eastern holistic thinking. So now I'm thinking like, damn, should I just be drinking hot water after I hoop? Is it like boiling hot water good for you, or should you just stick to like room temperature water?
Well, I mean, you know, the Asian culture has so much deep history, and that's why I'm such a fan of the Japanese culture. I'm a fan of the Asian culture. I'm really a fan of all of the Asian cultures, but traditional Chinese medicine is so old, and they know about cooking their food. You lose some nutritional value by cooking it, but you absorb more of what you eat than eating raw food. You can eat raw food uncooked, and your body has to work harder to break it down, but you don't absorb as much nutrients. So, like, we've tried to reinvent the wheel, and they've had this figured out a long time ago. And yeah, actually, warmer hot water is actually better for us than just room temperature because it matches the temperature of our stomach, which, we're 98 degrees, which is, that's, hot water. That's hot.
Damn.
Danny, sing it, Danny. I know you're laughing. 98 degrees.
All I heard was 98 degrees. I had to chuckle, man.
And then Danny's like, ooh, Nick Lachey.
Give me one more night.
That's Danny's song right there.
98 degrees in the shade. I love that song.
You know that was a banger in the 90s.
Still is.
Still
is. Hell yeah.
Just to get back on after a workout, weirdly enough, that is right. Like, it's not even a room temperature after a workout. You kind of want warmer water to match your body temperature, right?
Yeah. Or you could, what I would do is take slightly cool water, room temperature is slightly cool, but have it structured. That way it doesn't taste like hot and it's gross. So it's a little cool, but it's structured. So you're going to have all the benefits of the absorption. So if you were able to infuse it with hydrogen, if you have one of my H2 generators.
There it is. There's a selling point.
I had to sneak it in there at some point.
You could use his code for 10% off.
Nice.
So, but no, honestly, the absorption is so much different when you structure water, add hydrogen to it. There's a great test that they do. They take like a manila sheet of paper and they put regular water, a few drops in one spot, and then they do structured or hydrogen-rich water on one spot. And you'll see both waters. One sits on the top, very buoyant, and then the hydrogen water, within a few seconds, boom, boom, starts dripping through. The other just sits buoyant on the top. So that's an example of what's happening in our body. When you have hydrogen water, it actually does that with our cells. It actually enters right into our cells. So people actually notice they drink more water and they're peeing less than if you just drink regular tap water. You'll drink it, and then within 30 minutes, you're running to the bathroom. You're pissing all of it away because it didn't go into your cells.
That's crazy.
Okay.
All right. Note to self: gotta drink 98-degree water after I hoop now. Shit.
Gotta drink Lachey.
It's an easy memory, It's just 98 degrees. you gotta get water bottles with a sticker of those fools on the side.
98 degrees water.
I'll say sometimes after a heavy workout, I mean, you don't care the water's cold or warm or room temperature. I mean, just chugging, like when you're just chugging that, it's just so refreshing. I'll say that.
Chugging warm water?
Yeah, like after a harsh, like a good workout where you're like drenched, it doesn't. You don't really care. Your body just wants water, so badly that when you drink it, it just feels so refreshing.
Now that I think about that feeling, it's interesting because when you drink like room temperature water when you're tired, it almost feels thinner, right? When you're drinking the water, it's like because with cold water, and this is something I'm on a carnivore diet, so I'm really trying to break away the matrix programming of social eating, you know what I mean, and eating for the taste instead of the nutrition of it. And it's interesting because just like water, like the cold water thing, we're so programmed to drink cold water. Even, I mean, you were a bartender. Francis and I worked at a restaurant. The restaurant culture is kind of racist. You know what I mean? That's kind of something that you learn working in the restaurant industry. And, we kind of profile different races. And something that when a Chinese family sits down, they're always like, oh, did you put in the warm water or the hot water already? And it's almost kind of making fun of them. But like the flip side of it is they're onto some shit that you don't know. You know what I mean?
So the
matrix programming and the carnivore stuff, like eating is supposed to be for your stomach and your body, not your mouth, right? But this whole propaganda and, starting to make sugar and putting sugar in everything, making food that's more from the lab than actually from livestock, it became more of a oral phenomenon than a digestive nutrition mechanism, right? So like with water, with food, it's like the cold water is obviously good for our mouths, but then when you get to your stomach, your stomach almost goes into shock. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm warming up. So it's just kind of interesting when you start to break these things down and you see how backwards things are with propaganda and mainstream media, right?
Damn, bro, you went deep there.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
we just got to go back to our roots, and like our parents, they had things figured out, and they knew to eat liver. Liver was a staple thing with our parents and our parents' parents. And now we won't touch an organ, but a wild animal, the first organ that a wild animal would eat is the liver first, right? Mm-hmm. Then it would eat like the heart, then the spleen, and the organs. I mean, the last thing it's eating is the muscle tissue, and that's what humans are eating. We're eating the muscle tissue, but the native indigenous tribes, the muscle tissue is nothing. The white meat on the chicken or whatever, that's like the garbage. They want like testicles, brains, spleen, kidneys, thymus gland. That's where all the magic happens. So, yeah, we've gotten way from roots and tradition, tried to rewrite our own way in this in a very synthetic, fake food, fake music, fake coloring, fake. It's all synthetic. It's all processed. So we're living in an interesting time with how conscious we are and how much information's at the touch of a finger, and there's so much freedom to live as instinctual and primitive as you want to live, or live as futuristic with chips and electronics and biomechanic arms. Like, we're in a really, really wild time right now.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I was saying there should be a case study on this period, or we should call this like, there's like a Renaissance era. This is definitely an era of some sort.
It's a transition from like old way of living to technology, and we're seeing everything change so quickly every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's given that when we shift to a more futuristic, to us in where we're at in time right now, futuristic era, there's going to be a divide of the people holding on, and the people that are pushing for it. So that's why there's like a civil Cold War right now. I feel like between the old school traditional and the more techy futuristic wave. But holistic healing, that kind of is more traditional, and you went down a rabbit hole in that too before getting into the hydrogen therapy. That's something that I was also into. I went down crazy rabbit holes with interesting yogis, and I just wanted to talk about some holistic practices that you have discovered along your journey. I know one of them was the Tesla coil, and I have a friend currently. He's using that to heal his injury. Can you kind of go into detail about what the Tesla coil is, how it works? It's something that you kind of wear, and it magnifies some kind of field, right?
Yeah, so there's a couple different technologies out there as far as like Tesla healing technology, and there's like Tesla biofields and med beds using Tesla, these canister coil things. But what I was using was a device that was actually invented by a Russian scientist. And I believe in 2021, he won the Nobel Prize for this technology. And it's called vortex energy medicine. And I believe the last name's doctor was Mishini. And so it's called Mishini coils. But what they are Tesla coils. They're copper coils. They're spun like this. And they bring electricity to the coils. And the electricity exudes energy. So on my coils, I can hold a coil here and another device, close to it, and it'll light up. There's no batteries in this device. So when I just move the device through the energy field, it actually lights up. And so it shows you that energy is exuding off this plate, these coils. And then it's all in Russian, but there's protocols to put these coils on different parts of your bodies to what they call revitalize your meridians. Because in Russia, like Asia, they understand the body much differently, and I prefer the way they understand the body. And they talk about meridians, which are energy pathways, kind of like what acupuncture uses, things like releasing energy in our meridians. So the Tesla coils, there's two different outputs as far as frequencies, and it's non-invasive. You just set it there. You might not feel it. I actually did feel it in my glands. I had a swollen gland kind of by my hip muscle, and I felt the gland was swollen, kind of sensitive. So I put the coil there, and within 5-10 minutes, I actually felt some pain and discomfort. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's definitely doing something. And then it was like a buildup of pressure, and then just total release. And so what these glands do around our throat here, behind our ears, under our armpits, behind the knees, and by our hips and our groin is those are like filtration systems. So you just check your glands every now and then. If you feel one is swollen, okay, a gland caught an infection and is swollen. And so you can actually try to massage that gland if it's here or near your pelvic muscle. And so if you have one of these Tesla coils, which they don't sell them anymore on where I bought them before, which was eBay directly from Russia, they don't sell the vortex energy medicine when I looked again. So I'm actually bringing it to our new clinic here in town because we do use that medicine, which is just energy medicine. Like you don't have to take a tablet. It's just energy, and you actually put it on your stomach, you put it on your forehead, and it just does all natural cellular repair through these energetic waves. So it's amazing.
I'm sorry. I think he was using coil, copper coil, not the Tesla coil. Yeah, so not necessarily that. But I know you mentioned the Tesla coil in the last podcast, and I wanted to ask about that. And you mentioned meridians and vortexes and glands. It sounds kind of like chakras. Are they kind of alluding to clearing certain chakras? Because I know that chakras have been linked to the lymphatic system, correct?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I'm not 100% sure, but it aligns with the different meridians in our body is probably, I would think, same thing as chakras, just called a different word. But yeah, the the Eastern culture, they understand the body for the meridians, chakras, our energetic fields, and which are real things, you know. Just because we can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. The vortex energy was pretty interesting in the Tesla coil. I feel like if you told that to people, they'd be like, "Fucking sci-fi movie." What is it? What's the other one? PEMF, right? The pulse electromagnetic field therapy as well. Does that kind of do the same thing as the Tesla coil, where it resonates an energy to clear out certain buildups?
Yeah, it's similar. It does operate on different frequencies. I know the PEMF, like you can change it to what's known as sine wave or square wave, which is different waves. It's actually either a wave like this that the energy travels, or like this. So it's really interesting with the PEMF, which is energy medicine in a form, whereas the vortex energy medicine is different, right? It's actually a vortex. It's spinning like this from those the coils that create that energetic vortex. But we work with PEMF. We also work with something known as the sweeper technology, which is Rife frequencies. So they're actually copper coils you hold like this, and you wear a grounding cable. And there's a program, a computer board that has a bunch of different programs for eye health, testosterone, depression, parasites, fungi, viral infection. So when we, at our clinic, when we run the diagnostics, depending on the results of the diagnostics, we'll cater their healing protocols that same day for what they need. We realize someone has a ton of parasites in their body. While they're breathing the hydrogen gas, they lay there with the Rife frequencies, which are 2 copper cables, and you feel a pretty strong electric charge that is a little too strong for some people. We have to turn down the voltage. But basically, after a few minutes, your body acclimates, and it's putting these certain frequencies to kill parasites or strengthen certain organs. And we do it simultaneously with breathing hydrogen. We also put a red light therapy on the cranium, and we do chi activation, which is swinging your ankles in a device to help activate chi in the body. So all that therapy happens at the same time.
Well, all right. So it wouldn't be the Cave Podcast unless we got trippy. So I wanted to ask, in your holistic journey, did you ever encounter or experience anything kind of borderline supernatural? You know, like a electromagnetic tool that kind of levitates something, or something along those lines, you know?
No, nothing like that. I will say, when I was practicing something called celestial qigong, I literally, this was in Hawaii in the mountains. I was alone, and it was microdosing psilocybin mushrooms, and I was practicing the qigong routine. And after I connected heaven and earth, which goes like this, and then you bring it down to the ground and up, and you come down, you breathe in, you bring it around, and I start to bring the energy. I literally saw the tall weeds of grass around me spinning like this in wind.
Wow.
And that was kind of like, yo, this is right now. Like, dude, it was like real life airbender stuff going on.
Avatar.
Damn, that's wild.
That was really kind of like, whoa, something is really going on here. It wasn't just the wind came through. Like, no, it came and was circling while I was doing the moves. It was powerful, man.
Wow.
Yeah, we talk a lot about like magic with a K, you know, which is kind of like the spiritual magic. And Danny and I always kind of debate on whether that's real magic or it's coincidence. And that's kind of where magic plays on, you know what I mean? They play in the gray area of coincidence, because it could be coincidence, or you could have manipulated and affected it, right? So you'll never know. That's kind of where it plays.
I'll never know. One other story I want to share from a client and business partner. She sent me a message saying, "Hey, is this normal?" And she explained her experience. She was breathing the hydrogen machine at night. She fell asleep, and she said she went through the most powerful psychedelic past life regression. She saw past lives of herself in new colors on a different color spectrum. She was like, it was the most intense thing she'd ever experienced, that she fell asleep breathing the machine. I said, that is not normal. We never heard that before. Like, oh my gosh, like, that was insane. I saw literally my past lives. I'm like, whoa.
Well, I mean, you did mention it. People dream, so maybe it was her dreams were just so vivid, and I know. I mean, I've had a few of those vivid dreams, but yeah, that sounds
weirdly enough, like, because we're majority of us are pot smokers, and like, the more you sober up and you detox, the more you get intense dreams, and you know, like, the main component of sleep is to get into rapid eye movement sleep, right? And that's kind of where you get into that deep sleep. That's where you dream, and that's kind of where the brain gets its recovery. You know, that's kind of where you rejuvenate your psyche, and you pretty much overall recover from there. But when you're constantly smoking, you don't necessarily, and when you're drinking, you don't necessarily get into that REM sleep. But it makes sense we spoke about the detox properties of hydrogen. Maybe it just accelerated the detox and you got into the rapid eye movement dreaming state. Because, man, I went on a break to pass a drug test, and so I was sober for 3 months, and god damn, every day of those 3 months I was having on 10 crazy, I won't even say dreams, I'd say borderline nightmares. They were so intense. Like, I would wake up, like, I'd literally sleep 10 hours, wake up, and felt like I ran a marathon. Like, what the fuck? I don't want to go to sleep anymore. It gave me Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
No, for real.
So I would. That's probably plausible, that experience. You know.
Well, the thing with hydrogen in gas form or tablets is that since it passes the blood-brain barrier, and it's actually been proven and studied in China that to reverse dementia, and hopefully we might lose the whole YouTube video because I just said that, but that was a study done in China. I'm just sharing information. I have that posted on my Instagram as well, that breathing molecular hydrogen for 3 months prevented dementia and actually reversed it. So there's tons of neurological benefits that occur when taking hydrogen therapy in different forms. So having more vivid dreams, well, your brain's functioning better, right? And you're getting into that better sleep process and having more vivid REM sleep and lucid dreams as well. So, breathing the gas, taking the tablets, it could be partially from the detox, but I know it does a lot of great benefits with the brain, hence why it gives people a lot more dreams.
Right. And you mentioned when you were having that mushroom trip and kind of airbending, that was in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, that was in the Hawaiian island of Oahu, where I lived for about 8 years. And that's where I kind of find myself spiritually and just dove into the deepest rabbit holes of research and conspiracies and natural healing, and just became a total like biohacker guru. Before the term biohacker was out, like that's what I was living and breathing: competitive boxing, MMA, surfing, free diving, scuba diving. Hawaii was an amazing experience.
Damn. Yeah, man. I mean, as far as like spirituality and magic goes, I feel like that's kind of the place for it, right? Because there's a lot of ancient legends and tales over there. And we spoke last time about the ley lines, and I did some research a few days ago, and like the whole region of Hawaii is covered in ley lines, right?
Yeah. One of the major ley lines, and also known as the chakra of the earth, which is there's a few different very large ley lines, and one of the biggest ones is the heart chakra, and that's in the island of Maui. And then in the Hawaiian culture, and I was respected and had a good enough energy for them to accept me into their culture and to learn about their ways of natural healing and volunteer in different community healing projects. But what they talk about is the mana, right? The energy of the land. And I have some other experiences, microdosing and taking psilocybin mushrooms, hiking barefoot and connecting, right? Grounding with the earth, mud, a lot of mud. And I allowed nature to take me where it wanted to take me. And I went on a hike I never went on. And an hour into the hike, it led me to a dead end, which was a huge, beautiful waterfall, not on the main trail. And I'm just like, wow. This is not an accident. Like, how I didn't by accident end up here. I was connected with nature. I was using nature's substances, nature's medicine.
Have you guys heard about the night marchers in Hawaii?
Yeah.
No.
You heard about them, Jermaine?
Yeah, but I don't know exactly everything about them, but I know the night marchers. I've heard of it.
Yeah, apparently they're like ghosts and spirits of previous Hawaiian soldiers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess sometimes at night, that's why the locals say if you're hiking or you're out at night, you want to be at a certain time. And if you're out at night and you feel a gust of wind or something, right?
Yeah, it's like as if like they rushed right by you, something like that, right? I remember, like I said, I haven't read much into it, but I remember it's like one of those folklores, but it's like you feel the energy and like it's like wind. Yeah, you're right, something like that. And so you got to be home by a certain time, or they could. I think
kill you, right?
They could possess you and drive you to kill yourself. That's one version I read about. Or they make you, or they kill you. So there's just so many variations to it.
I heard the way. Well, first of all, I heard if you see them from far away, you see actual torches. Like you'll see like some kind of visual phenomena. It looks like there's a
like an army
of soldiers with an army with torches,
like a mob,
right? And then you feel the wind, and then they said to show respect, you're supposed to lay down naked. You're supposed to take your clothes off and lay down.
Which is wild, right? Because what if you're just getting butt naked?
You just get butt raped.
All right, we're not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna fuck you in the ass real quick.
Imagine the local that tells his friend that he's just taking pictures,
and all you can say in that moment is like, "All right, make it quick."
Yo,
some scary movie shit right there,
right?
That's why I kind of wanted to ask, because if that shit was real, if I'm in Hawaii, straight up, I'm taking my clothes off. And, it's crazy because I learned that a reason why most of these places are haunted, and it was kind of highlighted in the Amityville, right? Where the reason that they're haunted is because there was a lot of natives that were murdered in those sites, so their souls are kind of still traumatized. And around there, and I feel like Hawaii, if you look at the history of it, they got fucking ransacked.
But they also got down like with each other. Like tribes of other islands would go to another island and just fucking
they were a warrior tribe race.
Yeah, so they would like fight over land, crops, things of that nature. When he mentioned Maui, it was weird because when I went to Maui with Sam a couple years ago with her family, and it's nice and I felt very relaxed, but at night it's like very like you don't really do anything at night versus like Waikiki, Oahu, where it's kind of a party town of Hawaii. Maui is like at 9 o'clock when the sun goes down. It's like you're just chilling inside your house in your room and not really doing much. I guess that might allude to the night marcher thing, and like
you can't chill at the beach.
I never put that together, bro.
I mean, you went to Maui, right? So like,
you're right. No, it was kind of when the sun goes down, people kind of already, start winding down. There's bars open, but there's not like a big crowd over there.
It's not like Waikiki where at night there's clubs, there's still like late night bars playing loud music. But yeah, you're not gonna find like music festivals in Maui. They're all gonna be in Oahu.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking too? Could it possibly be that, there's so much energy because of the volcanoes and of the location of Hawaii being inside the Ring of Fire? Like, I wouldn't say spot on in the middle, but pretty close in the middle.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a big reason why there's so much mana there, right? Mm-hmm. And I think what he mentioned last time on the podcast, the water has a lot. It's really there's what's called micro gold or whatever inside the water of Maui. And I think because there's a lot of also underwater volcanoes there, it enriches the water and kind of ups the charge of it,
I've seen in bottles, like it says volcanic water from Hawaii and shit like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fucking night marches, man. That's trippy, dude.
But you lived in the Philippines because it's like that at night too. It's like in the morning it's cool, like you play with your friends outside, and at night it's kind of eerie,
Why is it? It's like that everywhere, but in the U.S., man, I feel like all this superstitious stuff, all these spirits and everything.
It feels more real in other countries.
Yeah, but then here it's like, what the hell? Like, there's nothing. I mean, there's Bigfoot, and there's Skinwalker.
Oh, I'm not afraid of Bigfoot at night. I don't go outside. Like,
you'd be scared of the Skinwalker, though, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, like, in other countries, like, people say that if they've lived it, they experience way more than I guess you could say people here. Mm-hmm. And over there, I don't know.
I think it's just because we're located. Like there wasn't that much going on in California compared to in the Native American, like the plains, Colorado, North Dakota.
Yeah, okay.
Like if you're out late at night in like North Dakota, like on the plains or whatever, like I'm sure you'll feel some type of energies over there because. That's where a lot of the
that's true.
The Native Americans were popular. I mean, there were some in California, but they were mostly spread out, and I feel like they didn't go through like a lot of mass murder versus like the
that we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. But versus like the East Coast Native Americans, where America first landed, it's kind of like because I went to visit family like in Connecticut or Rhode Island, and it's kind of like at night, it's like this weird, eerie feeling. And versus like here in Cali, it's just like, I mean, practically, at least where we're living, it was a desert. There wasn't that much life going on versus like the lush areas of the United States.
I've experienced hauntings though here in California, so I used to live in a haunted.
Oh yeah, I know. You told me
that. In Covina?
No, Rolling Heights.
I'll add to the one you were saying to what you were saying, Francis, because saying when I went to go work in Kentucky a few years ago, yeah, man, like at night the vibe is different, man.
Yeah,
and especially when we would leave we were done working and we were heading home. It was around 4:30. I mean, but there was nothing around us. Really, the warehouse was like in the middle of nowhere, and just that. Like when we be quiet, it's quiet, and the vibe was different. And then, when we would walk around the neighborhood, it was we were in Lexington, which is a city, but regardless, it had its like little woodsy areas you could say by the apartments. And so when we would go walk and it was starting to get dark, like, the vibe hits different compared to if you're walking here, let's say,
like in Lake
along the beach or something. But I will add, there was one time it wasn't a night hike, but I went late in the afternoon to Black Star. I started my walk around 8 o'clock. I'm not 8 o'clock, like 5 o'clock. And then when I walked, like it was seriously starting to get dark, and it felt creepy as hell.
Yeah.
And then when I made it back to my car, it was already dark.
But also look at where we're living though. So we're not going to be seeing stuff like that around here. I mean, imagine going up north with like, I don't know,
like Yosemite area or something.
Yeah, like just like there's very rural areas in California still,
Yeah.
So imagine going to those, like when imagine, Danny, like when we played at Rams Hill. Remember we saw that town up past the mountain? We're like, I feel like that could be creepy at night in that area.
Rams Hill? Where
on your birthday we played Rams Hill Golf. That was
yeah.
And then we had to drive through the mountain, and there was like a small town in the mountain, remember? And it was like covered in this fog. It was like, oh shit.
It was we drove through some fog in the mountain, and like a little town.
And there was like a small
It gave Silent Hill vibes. It really gave Silent Hill.
So imagine being there at night. I feel like that would be creepy up there.
And it was snowy too, remember? There was snow on it. It was foggy. Yeah, man.
The thing is, though, Cali is huge, guys. Like, in SoCal, not so much, but like closer to San Diego, Mexico, Tijuana. Like, well, not even in Mexico, there's already like lore and weird shit there, right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the same.
The Aztecs got murdered by Spain.
If you don't look at like borders, like that's still kind of part of the land, right?
Yeah.
And in NorCal, like Mount Shasta, like Hemet, it kind of starts getting sketchy over there, you know. I think more of the if SoCal cryptids, we just got to worry about like meth heads and crack heads.
Honestly, yeah.
or go to a spot like Jermaine once. Go to a spot Jermaine once called Lake Utah.
Lake Utah.
One time he got so faded. He instead of saying Lake Tahoe, he said Lake Utah.
Made some shit up.
He just inversed it. That's what we said. Lake Utah.
Yeah, I bet you there's ghosts at Lake Utah.
But no, like even in Vegas, like on the strip, like nothing probably happened there. But you drive a little further off the strip, motherfucking get, you know, see giants.
Let me say this:
get abducted by aliens or some shit.
Let me add this. I mean, cities are built, towns are built, so everything is modernized. But what about before all of that? You know, like it was just grasslands. Of course, I'm pretty sure like people were probably, you know, killed and shit like that. And then what happened? I mean, then they came, they settled, they got rid of everything and just built a city on it.
You know what I think? To satisfy that question, I think when it's fresh, like let's say the murder just happened, they try to honor it and they try not to build anything on top of it. But as time progresses and as the land gets populated, they're just like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just build an apartment complex there, you know?
Yeah, like
weird shit can start to happen over
Indian
there.
burial grounds is where always the active shit happens.
Yeah, that's why it's illegal to like as construction companies, they'll stop building. Like as soon as they hit like a burial, they're like, it's done, it's over. Like so they don't fuck with that.
No. And the superstitions are crazy, like how hotels they skip the 13th floor. You know, if you go on the, you know what I mean? It's weird.
You literally do that.
Yeah. When I deliver, I always notice that. But then, like Mitch Hedberg says, people on the 14th floor, you really know what floor you're on.
Yeah, right. Like all these hotels, they skip the 13th floor, but you know what floor you're on. Well, you can count from the floor 1, 2, 3. It's like, oh, this is not the 14th.
But yeah, I mean, like us being Filipinos, we grew up with like a swans. You know what I mean? Did you guys believe in that shit? Do you guys have any stories about that shit?
So when I was living in the Philippines, obviously I moved there. I was born here, so moving there is a different experience. And I was already creeped out at night, but my friends along the street would be like telling ghost stories in the jeepney that's nearby. We would just talk about it. And then I remember they would be screaming because they said they saw a black lady, and I was like, "That's mean." I was like, "She's black."
Racist.
Yeah, but then they're saying no, and they're describing it as like she's this black ghost who comes and eats kids in the middle of the night, right? And they said, "Did you feel that?" And it was just happened to be windy, but for some reason I'm already spooked out by all that. I just feel my hair raising, and they're all like, "Oh my god, she's here!" And I remember just everyone running out of the jeepney back, and then I remember someone looked back and. I don't know if it was just me or my mind was just playing tricks on me because I was so scared, but I remember just kind of seeing like this black shadowy figure kind of in the wind just standing at the back of the jeepney, like looking at us. But that's it. And I remember looking back, it was gone, but I was like, dude, did I really see that or am I tripping? So it's just, yeah, even till now I think of it, I was like, that's kind of freaky. And like the Philippines, they have black lady, they have white lady. I was like, what do we go? What we got? Red lady next or what?
It's mainly black or white. The white they use. I mean, in the folklore I know, the white it's deceiving. So like you think it's a beautiful woman, you walk to it, and then it's a fucking lady with the head of a horse and shit. You know,
that's racist.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
No, I don't mean white lady, but like a lady dressed in a white dress. There you go.
Well, she's white and has a horse face, so fits the bill.
No, but I'll give you guys a story too. It didn't happen to me personally. My mom told me, and it happened to her. Teresi, I might have told you the story, but so you maybe Mateo living in Costa Rica has heard of it, Seguanaba. But anyways, my mom when she was younger, she was riding back with her siblings, and then my grandfather and my grandmother. But the thing is that my grandfather was a womanizer. Like this fool had 23 kids with like 8 different women.
Damn.
He was a player, bro. And so this lady would come up to what's it called? Would show herself to these type of people, these type of guys. So one time as they're driving back to, because my grandfather he owned a lot of land. So as they were driving back to I guess you could say his not really a ranch, but his place, you know. Mm-hmm. They see from afar, and they're driving at night. They see from afar like a lady with a white dress, and you only see her from the back. And so my grandfather saw her, my grandma saw her, like almost, and then crazy. They were about to stop, but then my grandfather's assistant was like, "No, keep going. We got to pass." And as they drove past, somehow that lady wound up right in between my grandparents, and sat in between the two of them.
Like the whole time,
ended up in the car,
trying to collect that child support.
The whole time, for real, right? The whole time, the energy was bad. That all the kids, so my mom and brothers and sisters, they all got sick. They all were throwing up and stuff like that. The assistant, my mom laughed when she said it. The assistant he got an upset stomach that he shit his pants.
Oof.
Yeah, it was that bad. And then as soon as they got to the area, it's like if the lady just vanished and poof, and then everything was kind of back to normal. But yeah, it was fucking weird, man.
Danny, did you know your mom would tell you when you'd see an owl that meant someone was gonna die?
Someone's gonna die. Yeah,
that's creepy.
Damn.
I try not to look at owls anymore. No, don't want to see.
And this is in a neighbor country to you, Mateo. It's in Guatemala. That's why I was like, maybe in Costa Rica you've heard of this folklore. So,
yo, in my early 20s, I would have stopped for her. I would have folded, bro. Late at night. Hey, where you going?
Where you from? What's your snap?
Oh no, Decker. What's your snap?
What's your snap?
Oh man. No, but yeah, Mateo, just to catch you up on what we were talking about the night marchers in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Is there any truth? Damn, because Francis and I, we went to Maui, and he mentioned something interesting that I didn't really notice. But around night, it's pretty dead in Maui, right? And we don't know whether that's respect towards the night marchers. But can you kind of just just go into what the night marchers are and what experiences you've had with them, if you've had any?
Yeah, so from my understanding, if I recall the story right, some of the night marchers, there was a big battle, and where it was King Kamehameha, I think, and they were battling for Oahu, basically. So they came from surrounding islands to battle on Oahu. Basically, one of the tribes got pushed to a cliff's edge, and then they all just, rushed them, They all fell to the cliff's edge. And so you had so many lives lost. And so what I believe part of this night marchers are those lost souls that died in that battle. I personally don't have any experience with the night marchers. A close friend of mine did, again, using magic mushrooms. I was involved. But him and his girlfriend or fiance both saw two night marchers, and they were like kind of clear-ish, like figures coming towards them. That was scary. And so he thought it was maybe just him. And then he looked at his girl, and she was freaking out, said the same thing. So they both saw it. And it's like those stories are pretty common. It's not like, oh, no, that's just folklore. It's like, no, that's like real stuff. Like no one jokes around with kind of the mysticism and stuff. Like it's so real that no one jokes with it. They also say things like don't ever go into caves. A lot of like darker energies live in these caves. And I've been near caves, and I didn't even want to look at the cave because it was so black and like ominous that I couldn't even look at it. Like I had to run past it and look the other way because I was freaked out. But I've had a couple weird things happen. Nothing too crazy that I could, really blow you guys away with. But, I've definitely heard stories. They're pretty common too, about the night walkers.
Interesting thing about caves. I watched the YouTuber. His name is Peter Santinello, and he visits different people's homes and kind of gets a walkthrough where they live. And I watched this one where he goes into a Navajo reserve, and they took him to the caves, and he's like, right over there is the Skinwalker cave, and he's like, never go in there. And he says like sometimes they'll watch and they'll be like, just drunk people kind of that stumble around, just get fucked up and then go in there and shit. But it's crazy because as a kid, you're curious about that stuff, and you just go into caves and you don't know what kind of life-altering decision you're making. You could come back possessed or with a spirit latched onto you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so real. I ran into a woman on a hike, and she said a tourist was there. They saw the cave. They said, hey, don't go in there. Well, the guy wanted to. He got his cell phone, his flashlight. He went in the cave, and when he came back out, like all these bad events started happening in his life. And, he's trying to figure out what was going on, like, because it seemed something that definitely happened. All of a sudden, it was boom, boom, boom. Well, they found like a local kind of Hawaiian shaman. It happened to be the woman that I ran into on this hike. And she said she actually went and treated him, gave offerings to the cave, did a type of Hawaiian Hawaiian blessing and forgiveness to detach his energy from him. So, yeah, I mean, it's like it was a real talk. Met this woman on a hike near this crazy waterfall. And, it seemed totally legit. She had no reason to make that up and lie to me,
It's like if an entity owns that cave, like, no, this is where I live, and no one's allowed. Dang.
Right.
Exactly.
No, yeah, the Peter Santinello videos, the Navajo said that there's a lot of black magic rituals that transpire in that cave, so it just exudes evil, you know what I mean? So whether they're like actual sacrifices, probably sigils and you know what I mean, all that shit in there. It's crazy. I mean, that's kind of the other side of the coin of a land being so spiritual, right? Like there's all these healing properties, but the other side, it's like yin yang, there's also the dark side of it.
Absolutely. That balance for sure. I mean, I know Hawaii is not on the map for this, but it's a huge hotspot for child trafficking. And it's a thing that I used to talk with a friend of mine, and her boyfriend was in the military, and would say like how it is an international hub for this. And children and the keiki of the Hawaiians would go missing from Big Island like all the time. And it's just like not on the news because Hawaiians, it's kind of their own thing, but it's a real thing. So like you said, there's so much nature and positive, amazing energy, but with that balance, there is a darker side to that too. And I forgot you'd mentioned on in Maui how everything shut down really early. That is really common too, because there's not tons of like the Hawaiian culture. They don't do like bars and restaurants. That's like a Western civilized thing that came. That right, the modern Hawaiians absolutely they indulge in bars and nightlife, but culturally that's not a thing of them to do late night activities and events like that. So even Waikiki, they had a couple nightclubs and stuff, but for the most part, a lot of things would shut down pretty early. And I actually became to grow fond of that. And, a little bit things shutting down because, there's songs about it. Yeah, nothing good happens after midnight.
Right.
A lot of times it's true.
We know that.
That night.
A place I actually had experience of that and I was surprised was Seattle. They're known to turn in early. So nothing, the nightlife there is not really popping apparently. I mean, they have their bars, they have their clubs, whatnot, but they're known for turning in early. And I kind of liked it because I was like, I kind of want to live out in Seattle. It's nice out there. The air is so clean because of how much rain they get. But I didn't realize
you need a permit to collect rainwater there.
Really? Well, yeah. So I mean, I remember just roaming around in the middle of the night, just trying to get pictures of the city because I was there, and like, wow, there's nothing open. Just trying to find something to eat was kind of hard too because everything's closed.
Yeah, at first that was kind of frustrating for myself in Hawaii, and here where I live in Costa Rica. I mean, come 8, 9 o'clock, 10. I mean, almost everything shut down. Not everything, but a lot. And at first it was a little frustrating, but I'm like, I love it. Sun goes down at 6:30, and that's time to go home. There's time to be in. And, so I do. It's kind of more natural with the circadian rhythm of going to bed when, you're going into bed when the sun goes down. You're waking up when the sun comes up. So I prefer that too, man.
Yeah, you're more in tune with the universe, kind of, right? Because I think what's called your body temperature also goes along with the sun positioning, so kind of alludes to that and your hormonal balance. But yeah, man, I'm kind of inspired by your story of just being like, fuck it, I'm gonna live here in Hawaii. Is it advisable to do that? I mean, I know it's different when you live there opposed to when you're visiting as a tourist, right? How was it? What was your experience living there? And what do you have to say to a person who's thinking about making that move over there as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's always opportunity anywhere in the world. At this day and age, with a cell phone, there's no excuses you can't make it anywhere, and I mean make it by providing for yourself, right? So long as, you have a good work attitude or you're intelligent and proactive, you can make it work. I went to Hawaii without a plan as a tourist on vacation for a week and decided not to take my flight back. Like, that's what I did. I don't necessarily recommend that for everyone, but for people that want to go there and try to live there and stay there, obviously it's ideal that you probably would like nature because that's all you do. I mean, what do you do every day? We go on hikes, we go to the beach, we go swimming, we go surfing, we play tennis. It was like everything outdoors under the sun. If you're not a nature person, you're not an outdoor person, it might not be for you. I knew there was people there. There was Hawaiians there that don't ever go in the water, don't touch the water. They can't wait to get off the island, and they feel it's too small. I never felt that way. Because I love the nature. I love the sun. Every day, the sunset was such a treat. It wasn't like, oh, yawn, another sunset. It was like, oh, I get to live another day to see another sunset. So, yeah, I mean, anyone can make it work. It's a different culture. It's considered the United States, but it's not. It is the Hawaiian Kingdom. Illegally occupied and stolen by the United States. And it's been kind of swept under a rug. And we're like, we didn't do anything, and like yet the whole Hawaiian kingdom is still like, up in arms, like we're ready to take our kingdom back. They were extremely established. They had their own language. They were very, very advanced with the knowledge of medicine and healing, and they had already established relationships with other countries in Europe around the world. So it was really sad, that whole story. But so for an American, we're not less necessarily loved by the Hawaiians, from what our great ancestors did. However, if you're just yourself, like I think anywhere, just be yourself and be respectful. Like, it's not the United States. You might be legally allowed there with your passport and your credentials, but it is not an American culture there. They pimp out Waikiki like a hooker, and which is not necessarily good. They use and abuse her for money and tourism and military. They use islands out there for target practice. It has one of the largest military occupancies in the United States. It's out there in Hawaii. So there's tons of things I love about Hawaii. There's tons of things I don't love about it. It is still very Americanized and controlled. And, they were some of the first persons to say, we need, mandate vaccines to eat in a restaurant. They were really on board with that. So it was not quite the freedoms that I had wanted being in such a tropical place. But I would never change my experience. I made some beautiful connections with people out there. And like I said, you like nature, and especially you have a hospitality background like you guys. There is great, amazing hospitality gigs at hotels and resorts and restaurants. And you'll find your community there, too, of all the other expats coming from around the world and around the United States, all going there to be servers or bartenders. And I mean, it's amazing, man. It's really, really beautiful experience there.
Yeah, interesting. You mentioned like some of the locals kind of hate it over there, but all the people who've immigrated over there, they fucking love it, bro. Like, it don't matter what job they left over there. They could be serving or driving Uber in Hawaii, but they don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, man. You become who you always wanted to, or you try to play, you try to run a chapter of your life that you just want to give it a shot. And yeah, like you said, I met Uber drivers that used to do banking in the States and stressful 9 to 5, and he's chilling, he's playing reggae. He's like, man, what are you doing today? Like, just having a great time. And, and there's some kooks out there too. You're like, yo, what is in the water? Because you are kooky, way out there.
Drinking tap water.
Yes, right. Tap water. Which,
slide in with some of your tablets, but like, try some of these.
yeah, exactly.
So to kind of wrap this up, we did want to talk about one of our talking points here. You mentioned it earlier on the podcast, the first episode. We touched upon it briefly, but flat Earth. We said we'd save that for another episode. What do you guys think the shape of the Earth is? I mean, let's be candid right now, all us five. Do you guys think it's a globe? You think it's a disc? Or personally, I'll start with the panel. I think it's more of a half basketball, right?
Yeah.
There's a mesa on the top, but like there's a hollow Earth underneath. So whether or not a comet struck it and now it's just a half basketball, you know what I mean? Personally, I'm starting to believe that over the modern theory. What do you guys think?
I'm with you on that one with the half basketball. For me, what did it is just how secretive they are with Antarctica and why they're not letting anybody in there unless you have like really high special permission. And the fact that they have like meetings and conferences there with some of the higher powers is kind of sus. So that alone is kind of pushing me to, I don't think it's flat, but yeah, kind of more of like a half basketball kind of curve.
It might not be all the way flat. There might be some like, slopes and stuff, but yeah.
Y'all ever heard of the guy who thinks the world's a donut? But
is his name Danny?
Yeah. Chocolate glazed, please. No, I'm kidding. Nah. But no, I don't believe in flat Earth. Nor, I mean, I could see the half basketball one, but no, I guess you could call me a globe head. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Antarctica, I totally believe. Yeah, like Francis said, how secret it is. That's why the flat Earth theory doesn't respond to me, because of how it's supposed to be on the edge of the Earth. So it's like I explained in a previous podcast, there was somebody who walked, and I mean, it could be all show, but when I ask people, like, hey, do you think he walked across Antarctica, or did he do a full circle around the world? You know, just walking around the edge. So, yeah, that's my thought.
Huh. Respectful.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hop in and give my opinion. I've gone back and forth, and it's really hard. But with for me studying water so much and understanding the properties of water,
yes,
that kind of helped to. It pushed me, it leaned me towards this more of a flat plane than a globe plane. And, I've seen, obviously, research a lot on both sides, but the properties of water, no matter if it's like a drop or if it's like 10,000 gallons, it just goes to level surface. So it finds the holes and it always goes to level surface. So, I mean, that kind of has me really puzzled with everything. The Antarctica, the only peace treaty in the world for every nation to sign is in Antarctica. And that's us, right?
Yeah.
So the way they talk about the outlines of these other worlds out, like going further out. And there's just a new report that Japan just discovered like over 1,000 new islands. How do you just discover 1,000 new islands? So,
that's crazy.
But also talking about inner Earth, I've heard of that too, and that's like, so can it be this kind of cone coming down here up to more of a flat plane with a firmament over top? And you could still have an inner Earth too, because they talk about the heating of the Earth's core, but they talk about this inner city with its own suns and in these caves, and there's underwater right tunnels that connect the whole Earth. I mean, so there's so much secrets.
Underground jungles.
Right, underground jungles, and like the NASA photos and in the ships, they are like, we have such great cameras. You know, why is it so hard to get a full fucking 360-degree angle?
Yeah.
No, bro. Why do we need to edit these pictures?
Right. Or
why do we need a fisheye lens to shoot this, bro?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I can't answer. I can't say, but the way the water works, I feel like it is more of a level plane. You know, I don't know.
No, I respect
Dude,
that.
no, that's actually a really good point, because water just takes the form of its container, right? Yeah. So as much as people want to talk about the skyline, like, you're missing, like, the answer might be in the water, right? That's interesting, because it should tell you a little. I mean, look at any water container, and especially if you consider the fact that we're spinning as we're spinning. You know what I mean? Like, water is gonna I mean, unless there's a firmament holding us in, and like the theory of relativity is kind of keeping us negated from velocity, but I feel like the clue is in the water. But what do you think, Jermaine?
I think the Earth is a geoid. You guys heard of that term?
Like geodude?
Right. No, where it's really an irregular form. I think at some point it's round to an extent, but it's very irregular. That's just how I see it. But as far as like getting any more scientifically deeper than that, I just think it's not a perfectly round shape. We've been hit by an asteroid. So you mean to tell me this thing has kept its shape after that? So I just think it's that. It's just it has this irregular shape all around it, and we don't know. We only know what the Earth looks like because those are the images they provide us. I mean, not everyone goes to space, and even then, are people really in space? You know.
That's what I was going to say right now, because technically, I just learned this just a few days ago. Technically, NASA, space is still in our atmosphere. So, like, the International Space Station is technically still in our atmosphere, along with a lot of the satellites that go around the world. It's technically still in Earth's atmosphere, and that's also considered space. So that's when it kind of brings the question, okay, well, what's beyond that? You know, have we been beyond that? And that's where we, you could go into other questions like the moon landing and all that, but that's for another.
Another
segment.
Just to tease another episode too. Have you heard a theory that the International Space Station, all the satellites that you see are just balloons that they put up there? There's also that theory, because have you ever seen like the launch of it? Like them launching satellites and stuff?
Right.
I've never thought up there,
right? Yeah, I've seen the launch of satellites, but not the ones not the space station and other ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see, you've seen the SpaceX launches. Those are actually pretty BA. I've seen them, especially the one that happened during 2020.
I like that.
No, like how Elon launched the fucking Tesla into space. Remember that? And there was a camera.
Who knows if that's real?
Yeah, but who knows if that's what happened? But we will never know.
I'll take Musk's
us in this chat are not going to space, but who knows?
Yeah, just so people know, this is kind of the model, the half basketball model,
right?
And that would be the firmament over there, the little dome shaped thing, which is kind of crazy because I saw this TikTok where a bunch of pilots get asked by this TikToker, it's like, hey, is the Earth flat or is it round? And like very candid, and the pilots don't think he's trolling. They're just straight up like, I've been flying for years and it looks kind of flat to me. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound crazy, but it's one of those things. Like if you want to learn about the ocean, you ask the fishermen and the boating people. You don't ask the bikers and the hikers about the ocean, right? Mm-hmm. So the people that look down on Earth and they see and they travel around Earth or across Earth, I feel like they would know more than the scientists,
Right.
Yeah, I heard a really interesting from like a Navy the missile defense mechanism that uses laser like targeting for the missiles that they shoot in the Navy, and they said that there's no it's directly straight. They don't account for curvature, which was someone had utilized that information as part of their investigation for Flat Earth. Was like, look at the Navy's weaponry defense systems. They don't account in the calculations for curvature when they're shooting some of these missiles or things on the surface plane of the water. So it's interesting, and there's probably equal amount of research, proving the globe too. But I mean, when they hide stuff and they lie stuff, that's when I go super sus, definitely don't believe what the narrative anymore at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's getting kind of sus. I mean, I just saw this recently on like a Twitter post, and it says something about sonar too. And I think what it said is sonar wasn't designed to, encapsulate a globe. It was meant to just spread out towards a flat surface. So when you see, the sonar pings and stuff, that they say should be also evidence that we're living on a flat plane. Why this is interesting, and like, it's interesting that people shoot this down instantly, but the shape of the Earth has changed as far as the narrative of the world, you know what I mean, multiple times. Even like where we are in space, whether or not we revolved around the sun or the sun revolved around us. And even back then, it's kind of weird, like you get canceled or you get thrown into jail for saying if it's flat, or at the time if he's saying it was round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. I mean, he got executed eventually, right? Is it Galileo?
Yeah, I think so. Right, because they were saying it was a globe when before they were saying it was flat, then it was a globe, and the United Nations flag is a map of flat Earth.
Damn,
Kind of weird.
Right.
Is that a secret code in front of our face, or is that, who knows?
Yeah.
Why did they use a flat Earth map instead of the globe map? I'm not sure.
Hiding in plain sight, as always.
Yeah.
And, people asked me before, they said, what does it matter if it's flat or it's a globe? We're living here. You're not going to go and see it. What difference does it make? Well, because that's just the start of, we can make, let's say they can make us believe that it's something it's not, then they can keep doing that in other aspects of our reality.
Yes.
So, that's why it matters, because the truth matters,
Right. If you believe that it's a triangle when it's really like a square, then you already believed one bullshit. Then you're susceptible to the other. And if they can control that narrative of we control where you live, then they can control history. They can control, maps, right? Then they can control foreign policy and, education and everything. So yeah, that's why these conversations matter. And we talked about this with all the conspiracy podcast hosts we've had on. It's crazy because it's not meant to diminish your side or your opinion. It's just meant to talk. Let's talk it out. And we don't even have to come up to a conclusion. We can just get closer to the truth, leave it there, and then have it carry on later on, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
But damn, man, it's crazy. I don't know about you guys, but when I first heard Flat Earth, and it was around Kyrie Irving, when that kind of got tied into him, it was almost like, yeah, people are dumb. People think the Earth is flat, but being this deep in the rabbit hole, it's kind of crazy.
I heard about it because of the rapper. Well, who was it? NERD back in the day. B.O.B.
Yeah,
it was B.O.B. Yeah. He came out, and that's when it blew up.
B.O.B.
2014.
He dropped some. He got super weird. Dropped some heavy, super deep stuff, and then he just went back to being like, the Matrix puppet, and was like, "Let me get back in line."
I pay the bills. He hit a biddy. He was like, "Hey, man, you still having those parties?" All right, we're hitting that 2-hour mark. Let's just wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. I'll start. What's your diet like, Mateo? Do you have a strict diet that you fall under, or just kind of free flowing?
I do listen to my body. I kind of work off my instinct, like what I'm craving. I pretty much give my body. Always basing everything off of a holistic nutrition basis. And if you guys are wondering what a diet like that might be, I would look into something called the Weston Price Foundation. Weston Price was actually a dentist, but through dentistry and studying dental work around the world in different tribes, he understood that the development of the teeth and the jaw and the bones and the whole skeletal structure had to do with nutrition. And he realized that through nutrition and certain diets, it had to do with the processing of food. So that's really, my background as a holistic nutritionist is all about eating unprocessed food and nutrient-dense food. I know the guy on Instagram, Carnivore MD. If you guys, his name's Paul something.
Yeah.
Carnivore MD. I pretty much align 100% with him, which is a lot of fruit, a lot of raw honey, raw milk, raw cheese, and grass-fed red meat, beef, not a lot of chicken. I do eat a lot of chicken. I try not to eat so much chicken, not so much pork, more red meat, organs. I eat a lot of fish, a lot of fruit, and try to listen to my body.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Paul Saladino.
Yeah.
Love that guy too, yeah.
Yeah, he's great. And he's in Costa Rica too.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
It's crazy.
trying to get him on the H2 soon.
That would be legendary.
Yes.
All right, when you're living in Hawaii.
Mateo?
Oh, okay.
Oh. Who's going first?
You go first, Danny. Go first, Danny. Go first. You got it.
Oh,
all
bro.
right, Mateo. What kind of music are you into, and do you play an instrument of any kind?
I taught myself off YouTube the piano, the keyboard, a little bit ago to play a Stevie Wonder song, "Ribbon in the Sky." I haven't touched the keyboard in a few years, but that was my instrument of choice, was the piano or the keyboard. And as far as music, I do I can appreciate all music, but I really love salsa and reggae, pretty much a lot of reggae, salsa. And just recently, I've been into some, I'm very picky, but some deep house.
Oh, yeah. Deep house.
Yeah, I like deep house.
Okay.
It's a cinema playlist.
Oh yeah, I got you, man. I'll send you a playlist.
I need some new stuff. So
yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned when you're in a Hawaii, you're into a lot of outdoor activities. Can you name your favorite one and why?
Oof, that's tough because there was a lot, but I would say it probably was tennis. Nice. Because it was me, the homies, like 2-3 guys, or actually, yeah, it was all the guys I worked with at the restaurant. So me and the restaurant guys, like I'm sure you know, it's like family.
Oh yeah.
And so, we're out there. Some people would drink, some people might smoke. There's always music, and I mean, a really good workout. We're getting sun, views of the mountain, views of sunset. Cutting it up. Having a good time, and from not really ever playing tennis to getting to be a competitive tennis player, that was badass.
Nice. Hell yeah. Just to kind of touch on that, do you watch tennis? And if you do, who's your favorite tennis player?
I don't really watch. I mean, if I'm somewhere with cable, like at an airport and they're playing it, I'll watch it. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know the names or follow it too much.
For sure. Yeah. Cool, man.
All right. Well, my question for you is this: keep it short, but you were talking about how you were kind of going back and forth whether you wanted to leave that good-paying job of yours, and it was kind of hard for you because everyone's kind of in your ear telling you don't do it. Now, knowing everything you know now, if you could go back to that person you were at that time, what would you tell that person who was very indecisive what to do?
Man.
Keep it short, my ass.
I know
that was short.
Yeah,
that's the deepest question.
You have to take risk. Have to take risk in life if you want that. Anyone can get to the mountaintop. You can take the risk and get to the mountaintop. You can take the safe, secure route, get to the mountaintop. It's really whatever you really believe is going to work. And for me, I knew if I just keep taking these big risks and follow my passion, I failed many times, but I knew I'm bound to hit one of these times. Mm-hmm. And what's the worst that can happen? I lose my job. I get another one. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much job out there, and I'm not too good to do anything. I've done construction, demolition, power washing. I've done it all. Like cooking and poolside. I'm in a little pool cooking up burgers for people. I literally was not good to do any job, too good to do any job. So for me, I don't care. I'm good. I'll wash dishes. I'll cut the lawn. I'll make it work until I get to another job I'm more comfortable and is a little bit more chill or whatever. So, I mean, what I say to people is life's short. It's not promised. And if I were to go back and tell myself, I'd say, man, take that risk. Follow your heart. You won't live with the regret. And that would suck to think back 20 years, man, what if I did this? And for so many years, I should have just done this. I don't ever want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Regret's harder than failure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I failed many times. Mm-hmm. So, I could say that I had business got stolen from me. I worked really, really hard. A lot of money, time, and energy got stolen right from under me. Other businesses just didn't work. You know, I failed. I flunked. I lost interest. But you know what? I don't regret because I tried. And there's always, especially with hospitality, you can get a bartending, serving, host, any of those jobs pretty much anywhere. So, there's opportunity to start fresh and new. It's not over. So yeah, man, that'd be kind of my response to that.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
That's what's up. We got Mateo, the Hydrogen Warrior, in the K podcast for the second time. Wrapping up the episode. Mateo, where can the people find you, man?
Guys, you can find me over at my Instagram. That's what I use the most, at Hydrogen Warrior. The business account is at AxiomH2 for the Instagram handle. You can send me an email at axiomh2@gmail.com. So you guys have any questions about products, want to set up a video call, hear about testimonials, set up a consultation at one of our clinics. I'm more than happy to help you guys out. It's truly my pleasure, and I can't thank you guys, K4V3, the whole team, to have me on again. And it's always a pleasure chatting it up with you guys, discussing juicy topics, and of course, spreading the word about hydrogen therapy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. It was our pleasure. Thanks for coming on, man. And
Thank you, Mateo.
Thank you guys. Big peace, big love to you guys.
hell yeah.
If you guys want to get bottles, tablets, I have a new promo code for you guys, and it's called FAM30, by the way. FAM30. That's 30% off. So, yeah, you guys want to utilize that code. That's a really big discount.
I'm going to order from you.
Yeah.
Out, man.
Definitely, maybe some, start with one tablet, but you've already tried one, tried two. You guys want to do a mean detox, you could definitely do 3 a day for a few days in a row. You'll start seeing some funky stuff leaving your body.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
For sure.
Cool, man.
FAM30. Use it on AxiomH2.com. That's the Hydrogen Warrior Cave podcast. We're signing off. Peace out, guys.
Later,
Peace.
guys.
Deuces.